Hello folks, great to have you join me yet again. It's still learning English language with Uncle AY. So the last couple of videos I've had to share, I was talking about phrase and of course its types, and the very first one on the list was the noun phrase, and then the video before this one I was talking about the adjectival phrase. So on the board right now what we have is the adverbial phrase. That's the third type of phrase on the list, and we'll be doing justice to this. So the question is, what is an adverbial phrase? Well, an adverbial phrase is a phrase that modifies a verb. It didn't stop there. It goes on to modify an adjective or another adverb. An adverbial phrase is one that modifies a verb, modifies an adjective or another adverb. So in this case, it depends on either of these that comes close to what we already identified as our adverbial phrase in the sentence. So whatever we identify as our adverbial phrase directly modifies either of these that comes close to it. So that said, let's just go right to the type of phrase we have in English language. The very first one is the adverb of time, which answers the question of how, when. That is when an action happened. And then we have the adverb of degree, which answers the question of to what degree, to what length, to what extent an action took place or maybe is taking place. Then reason tends to answer the question of why an action happened. We also have the adverb of frequency, which denotes the number of times an action took place or takes place or is taking place as such. So we have adverb of place, that is where, answering the question of where. And manner answers the question of how. Yes, how an action does or how something does. So that's it. We have the adverb of condition too. Adverb of condition answers the question of on what circumstance, based on what. Yes, these are the questions that the adverb of condition does answer. So we also have the adverb of purpose, very similar to that of reason. It answers the question of why as well. And of course concession here answers the question of despite or in spite of the situation, or despite the situation, right? The subject will still go on to do something. So that is concession for you. So that said, we have examples that I reeled off already on the board. The very first one here says, I shall round off the teaching very soon. I shall round off the teaching very soon. So how do we find out what our adverbial phrase is? An adverbial phrase here would be, I shall round off the teaching very soon. So very soon here would be our adverbial phrase. Do you know why? Because it talks about time. Yes, very soon. By the way, this is an adverb. Yes, so both are adverb of time. So don't forget phrase again, group of words. So this is a group, two words put together. Phrase actually is a group of words that is two and more. So we're bringing that idea here, but then within the confine of adverbial phrase or adverbial as such. So that's it. Very soon here is our grammatical name. So how do we put this down? So it becomes, like always do, open quotation. We have very soon, end of quote, is the adverbial phrase. Now you might want to go on to add adverbial phrase of time, but you know what, it is not necessary, because at the end of the day, if you go on to put something else that is not right, you might be penalized for it. Yes, it's an infraction, and you'll be marked wrong. So most times when my student or students are not so sure of it, I always tell them that it's best to just put or append your full stop at this point. So if you go on to say maybe adverb of place, when this right here is an adverb of time, you don't get the mark at all. So that said, since we are very sure we know what this is, very soon here means time. So we go on to write adverbial phrase of time, and then there's a full stop here. So what's the grammatical function of very soon in the sentence? So don't forget that the keyword here is modifies. That's what we'll be using here. If you recall, for noun phrase, the keyword was it functions as. For the adjectival phrase, the keyword there was, the keyword for the grammatical function was it qualifies. But right here, the key word for the grammatical function in an adverbial phrase would be it modifies. So that's it. I'm not sure I said I talked about modify here. Modify here means to give an extra detail or information about, you know, something, you know, usually a verb or an action. So that is what modify means, to give an extra detail or information, or to improve a situation in a sentence or an action in a sentence. So that's it. That is what modify means. So we go on to attach the grammatical function here. So what's the grammatical function here? Very soon here would modify. So this is teaching, right? This is a verb, and it's very close to what the already identified adverbial phrase. So nothing else comes close to this. So that's it. Very soon, or we put it as it so that we can conserve space. It modifies the verb. So the verb here in question is teaching. Teaching, for teaching. End of quotes. So the next question here is, the boy eats fast like a goat. So what is the adverbial phrase here? So the adverbial phrase, if you look at this very closely, so we find out that this is our adverbial phrase, like a goat, because it gives the impression of manner. That is how the boy here eats, like a goat. So that's it. We have to put it here, like a goat is the adverbial phrase. So you could choose to leave it here or go for that if you're very sure. That is to tell us what kind of adverbial phrase it is, or what type of adverbial phrase it is. So this is manner here, of manner, because it gives the impression, you know, of manner. That is like a goat, the way the boy is eating, it gives the impression of manner. So that's it. Next thing we'll do is grammatical function. What's the grammatical function of this already identified adverbial phrase? So let's not forget, it modifies. So what's it modifying here? So you find that this right here is close to the already identified adverbial phrase. So what part of speech is this? This right here is an adjective, whilst this is a verb. So which of these now is close, or closer as the case may be now? Yes, comparative. We have to closer to this, and that will be the adjective in fast. So let's go back to our definition again. An adverbial phrase modifies this, or this. So this happens to be closer to the already identified adverbial phrase, and it outrightly or directly modifies it. So how do we put it down in grammatical function? It modifies the adjective now. So what is the adjective in question? The adjective here is the adjective, open quotation, fast, end of quotes. So this is all there is to an adverbial phrase. So it is very, very expedient that you know the types of adverbials we have under adverbial phrase. So please do well to tell somebody what you learned. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to comment. Please your comments in the comment section, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. I do thank you for your attention.